So I made this ship many years ago, like could have been 10 years ago, honestly. Not very detailed, but it was my first like big project. We've got this lower part, this whole layer is pink foam, insulation foam, which I use for a lot of my projects. So we have just a long piece of it already gridded out. I was gonna make this a bridge possibly or something. Maybe I'll revisit that project. But this, so the bottom is that. Everything else is cardboard. The little staircases, which I have set in place with like sticky tack stuff, I'm not going to remove them, but they come off. They've got cardboard for the outside. Then the stairs are more of the pink foam. Let's get it a little closer. Let's see. And the stairs are very like gigantic because I wanted them to be playable. I wanted the characters to actually be able to step on them. I just decorated it with a bunch of pirates and stuff for scale. And then we have a mast with some rope leading up to, let's put it this way, the crow's nest. And of course they can just climb up and down the rope. I don't have a sail for it. I figured if I ever needed it, I would make one. But we can just imagine there's a sail there for now. We've got the captain and her first mate. This wheel is huge. Again, it's like put in place. I could remove it. Oh, there goes the crow's nest. I meant to remove that anyway. It comes right off. It's like a Lego wheel, so it's kind of huge, but it works. We've got two of the pirates manning these ballista, which I did paint myself. Very basic paint job, but pretty cool. So they can snipe any monsters or passing by ships that they might want to pillage. I do have to paint that middle part back up. You see some of the pink coming through because the paint got removed, but that's fine. We just cover it with that. And it was cool. I've only gotten to use this once, and I was running a game at a game store, and they were, at sea, and we were going to have a battle, so I brought this whole ship. And some of the people who were just there, like as customers, were like stopping and admiring it, which is nice because again, I'm looking at it now. It's not very detailed. It's kind of put it together to have a ship, but I'm happy with it. Maybe I'll make a new one or somehow texture this. But yeah, that's a big old ship, and I've only gotten to use it once, but I got compliments on it, which was cool. I did forget to show another little detail. There's just a door over here between the stairs, and same thing on the other side. So people can be coming in and out. Leads to the lower deck, all that good stuff. And then the mast is literally just a metal cube for weight. It happened to have this hole, which was perfect for this wooden dowel that I painted brown, so it just goes right in. And it's held because of the metal cube. Twine goes all the way up. And then the actual platform here is just more of that pink foam that I cut down thin so characters could stand on it. We have these big like mountainous pieces. So a bunch of different, again, this is made from the same pink foam. So it's very light, but it's durable. And I just went with grays, then put some brown for like dirt splatters. Obviously, I was testing different strategies with the brush. This is more of just like a, whatever that's called. Whereas this was like splatter, bunch of different pieces, and then I'll cut to a little like encounter using all of them so you guys can see. This one's fun, of course, with the cutout in the middle. Little arena or something, crater, who knows. And I mean, the sides look fine. I didn't have a good tool at the time to cut it and make it look nice, but the way it's like roughly torn apart, I kind of tugged like a bunch of pieces out just to make it look rough. It looks like a rocky terrain, so it didn't turn out too bad. One thing I do differently, because I made these a long time ago, is actually flatten these points because they look very sharp, very unnatural, which I could probably still do without messing up the paint, but otherwise I've used them a bunch of times. Here's just a quick little scene I threw together with just that terrain I showed off, and a couple of miniatures for scale and all that. So the group is fighting this rock monster in the center. We've got a mage over here, we've got an archer over there, probably not doing a lot of damage against a rock monster. And then our melee fighters in the pit fighting. We've got two stone giants. Maybe the ruckus has woken them up. Maybe they are the masters of this creature and they're just seeing how their stone monster fights against the group. Maybe they'll jump in. That would be very unfortunate for those guys, but there's that. On the flip side of these pieces, I actually just went with a very, not very detailed, but just green with some black to show some, mountains with like maybe just hills with like grass on top or something. So here we have the group getting caught by a couple centaur scouts, maybe with their pet owlbear. So again, these pieces are very versatile for a lot of different things, and I kind of love the green on top with the stonework looking mountain pieces. Pretty cool. These three big pieces are the last of the big terrain pieces I've made out of that pink foam. These were made out of something else. I'm gonna go over that in a bit when I show my stalagmites. But essentially we have like icy pieces like a tundra, maybe outside, or in this case we're gonna say it's a cavern. And it's inhabited by a gigantic yeti. He's a big boy. And maybe he has a pet giant ice spider. Why not? And the group's in here. Who knows why? But they're here and they have to fight this giant spider. And probably the yeti too. So I always like making little extra pieces of terrain, like on the other ones I showed recently. I'd probably put like rocks on them and some other stuff so the players can use the environment to their advantage. That's always fun. See how creative they can get. I made these for a game called Frostgrave, which is similar to like D&D combat. It's not so much role-playing as it is just the tactical combat. But that's a fun game I want to play at some point again. Anyway, here's our icy terrain. I almost forgot about these. A little unfinished project, kind of. I wanted to make like ruins. A bunch of bricks, just a brick wall maybe destroyed or never finished. Damn, I made a bunch of these. And this was going to be like a room partially destroyed. Was going to, paint in here. Obviously, we just put it on cardboard. All the bricks are individual foam bricks. I still have a ton of these, like, not painted, but just pink bricks from this stuff again. But these could be used as scattered terrain, just, who knows. Destroyed ruins of an ancient church. That's, what's it called? That is used to worship a god that is no longer relevant. Nobody worships them anymore. Whatever. But pretty cool. Again, I was making it for Frostgrave specifically, so we have white for the like snow. But I could just cut the white part off and just use it wherever. Maybe I'll revisit this. I wanted to make a bunch of big pieces like this. But these ones could be used as is. And again, cut all the bricks and then just kind of, this one looks kind of weird, like it's it's been smushed over time, even though it's a rock or brick, whatever. Those are pretty cool. Next up we have tiles, and I made a butt ton of these. I guess you can guess at this point what it's made from. But I made a bunch of these in a bunch of different sizes, just in case I wanted to make like a dungeon the group had to explore, like it wasn't just all shown. Like maybe this room leads to this narrow passageway, and on the way we've got some side rooms, because why not, right? And then this can lead, obviously I have a ton of these. Here's the box full of just lots of tiles. Here, let's grab a couple of these bigger ones. Now, a funny, I guess, story or memory of making these is when I was, because again, I'm crazy, I went through with a pen and etched all these, like, looks like cobblestone, just stone, like, pattern on the ground. I did each of these by hand. I was watching The Punisher for the first time. I don't know, I just remember I was watching that show specifically while doing this. So again, you could do these any way you want. We can have a bigger room over here. They're modular, very nice. So the replayability or whatever, like using these over and over again, is so easy because you can do a million different things. Along with showing these, I want to show the stalagmites I mentioned earlier. Those ice pillars, I made these the same way. So I took toilet paper, water, and white glue, mixed it up, and it made like clay, like straight up it was clay. And that's how I made these and those ice pillars, and then just painted them. And then just some cardboard on the bottom for a base so they'll stay. And I made a lot of these. This is like a third of them. For some reason I went ham. I think I thought I might sell some. I still might, because they're pretty quality. Like, you really have to chuck this thing around for it to break, if it would even break. But these are nice to have. Again, position them so the group can sneak around, or the enemies can jump them from behind these. That's even more fun. But yeah, lots of tiles. I want to make another set of these a little bit different. They would be a little thicker, and I'd put magnets in them so they can actually be magnetized, and once I connect them, they won't just move around, you know? I gotta work on those possibly. Just a little fun thing, because I was showing these off. If you ever mix up stalagmites and stalactites, remember that the stalactites are on top hanging down. So a stalactite is on top. Stalagmites on the bottom. You're welcome. I know it's crucial information that you're gonna need. And here's the last project I made out of completely nothing. We've got gold piles made from, look at that sparkle, from gold glitter, rhinestones I think they're called, those really cheap like sheets of little gems, and a bunch of other little accessories. We've got this bead that is just a skull with like red rubies in the eyes, very cool. This one's got a Lego sword that I just painted and have it sticking out. This is probably my favorite one. So we've got the rhinestones. We also have different colored glitter. There's some green, red, and blue to symbolize like smaller gems on top of all these gold coins with the larger gems. We've got one with a crown over here. I've got a bunch of like interesting beads I haven't used yet in these, so maybe I'll make some more. These were pretty easy to make. They were pretty fun to make. I took gold glitter and white glue, Mod Podge to be exact. It's stronger than normal white glue. Made a paste and then just formed whatever shape I wanted on parchment paper. And just let it dry, added the accessories, and then I sprayed them all with a spray adhesive so it stays pretty together for the most part. You can see a couple pieces of glitter fell off, but it's not too bad. And because they're like sprayed together like that, even when they fall off, they're like bigger pieces, so I'm not finding too many, you know, single tiny pieces of glitter everywhere. Oh, it just fell off again. So not too bad. They look really nice. They're very shiny. I want to make some smaller ones, even smaller than that. Here's a mini for scale. That's a dwarf. Let's use a human as well. So these guys just hit the freaking jackpot. They can retire. No more adventuring for this dwarf and this human. They are set for life, if they can get it all out. Alright, so next we're moving on from things that I made from scratch. And now it's more things I just bought and kind of painted and, you know, crafted from something already. So I bought these. These were already like little tree trunks with branches and stuff. I painted them a darker brown and kind of made a really heavy base using metal washers to keep them from moving too much. And then this stuff, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I bought a lighter green and a darker green and just kind of hot glued the branches and then stuck it inside and grabbed all this stuff. So some of it's loose, but these were the first trees I had, because again, I just bought the crafts and put it together. Since then, I've bought trees that look a lot nicer, and the branch parts are more flat, so they're playable. I can put miniatures on there if I wanted like snipers in the trees or something. But these are still nice, and I still have a bunch of the branches and a bunch of this green stuff. So maybe I'll make some that are a little darker that don't have any green, like dead trees, you know? Those could be cool. But yeah, I made a bunch of these, and they've served me well. Look, see, it's falling off. And here's just a box of stuff that I, painted really quick. I bought it online, super cheap, and just painted stuff brown. Maybe I'll come back and, touch these up, make them look nicer, but they're good enough for the table. We got this hangman, noose. We've got a bookshelf. The books do come out. See? So I could paint those and put them back in. Or I can just say all the books are brown, They're all boring and brown, like everything in this box. We got stools. I'm just putting these back in real quick. There. Bookshelf. There we go. Let's see. A closet. Again, I could probably paint some like bronze or gold, silver to really make this pop, but these are things I just did really quick and I might revisit them. This is just a door. I didn't even buy this online. I think I just got this from a game store. They gave it to me. They were going out of business. I was like, can I have this door? And they were like, yeah. Bunch of stools, tables, a big bed, some more shelves. This is a button that I just found. It has a lion on it, so I'm using it as kind of like a shield, but it's like decorative. It can go on the shelf if I can. There you go. Or I can, sticky tack it onto a miniature and it can be their shield. Dressers, a little table with a book, more books, more tables. We have like the bar, 4 curved ones, 2 straight ones. Chairs, different stools, ladders, oars on a boat. We got the sail over here. I have 2 of these like jail cells. I just painted them black. What else do we have here? Some sort of casket with a top. And then this is just an altar with skulls. I can definitely paint the skulls white or some kind of like yellow, like they've decayed and they're gross, and do some of these details. I might do a stream, let me know if you guys would want to see it, where I just touch all this stuff up and make it look real good. Right now it looks good enough that I can throw it on the table and I'm happy with it, but I would love to just touch all these up because it wouldn't take much work. Just some dry brushing and some detailing. We got some beds, which again, I just painted them all the same color. You could paint the blankets a different color or something. We have like, what, 5 of those? Yeah. And then some bigger pieces I took out already. I bought this for super cheap, but it actually has a light in it. It's very bright on the camera anyway. But I could definitely paint this something very fancy looking. It's got like roses on it. Could be super cool. What else do we have? I have a bunch of these tiny pieces that are, these are candles and like stacks of books and bottles. And this is just like some extra pieces that seller gave me, like a sword and a little crystal. So there's a lot of stuff in here we can touch up. We have this fireplace slash, I guess it could be like a stovetop oven type situation. They're cooking food. So inside of here we can put, it's supposed to be some sort of food, or at least a fire starting. And then we have the actual fire. If I want it to be a fireplace, There we go. It's a fireplace. I painted all this stuff. And then we can put the pot of stew. There we go. Doesn't look great, but I'm sure it's edible, right? Got those. Catapult. I want to get a couple more of these. I gotta see where I got this because it's pretty nice. We have some frames. I bought a lot of stuff that I will probably never use. Okay, guys, don't judge me. Here's a Kraken that I spray painted black and have not painted it yet. There are his tentacles. I didn't paint this yet because these tentacles are tiny and wimpy, and I want them to be like, I want to find some or make some that are longer and more intimidating. Was there anything else? This robot mechanical monster is actually a McDonald's toy. I don't know if you can, yep, McDonald's right there in the middle. I saw somebody else buy this, and I don't think they painted it, but I saw this and I was like, I want to make this used in D&D. So let's see. We can have a character stand in it and control it. Maybe the dwarves made this back in the day, and in some dwarven ruins they discover this, and through magic they can make it work. The insides of the arms and legs were hollow. There was nothing there, so I filled it with the wet toilet paper glue stuff, so it's got a little bit of a bulk to it, and the arms move. This could be really fun to paint, all these details, texture, the spikes. We'll see. And lastly, we have actual miniatures, characters, monsters that I got unpainted and I painted them. So let's start with the boring stuff, and it's just some oxen who I didn't even detail yet, the horns and stuff. I was meant to do that and just never did, just to, you know, pull wagons, stuff like that. Nothing crazy. We have a snake, a very large snake. Let's pull out the human fighter slash paladin for scale on everything. I did not paint that one. It is way too nice. You'll notice I don't paint like player characters because they're so tiny I can't get their faces right. There are a few here that I attempted, and we'll see those. I'll leave him there. Next we have blink dogs. These demon doggos that can blink in and out of sight. Got 4 of those. Just did brown. I didn't really detail them. I would love to go back and do that with a lot of stuff. We got mushroom people, myconoids. I just went with like a yellowish and then purple. But after seeing these creatures in Baldur's Gate, they're very colorful. I kind of want to cover up all the yellowish gross stuff with like different colors so they're unique, because we have, you know, 4, but these 2 are the same mold, these 2 are the same mold, whatever. We have a Gorgon, metallic bull with the red eyes, and they can exhale a gas, I believe it is, that turns people into stone, so those are scary. We got an Umber Hulk, giant insect looking creature. We got a Pegasus. I have 2 Pegasi, I believe it is, that are like official pre-painted miniatures, but this one I got unpainted, and I wanted to go with like silver for all the hair and the mane and stuff. I love this one. This looks great. Very cool. Got some griffins. Got a smaller one that might be nice. And then this larger one that is definitely not going to be somebody's mount and try to kill them instead. He does not look happy. We got a worm. And I do love the teeth and the whole gaping mouth there. Hopefully it's... There we go. Delicious. Just went with like blue and then black. I like it. And then we have an owlbear. I showed one off earlier in the stream, or sorry, in the video. So there's two pre-painted and then mine. I gotta say, I kind of like mine better just because I painted it. But they work together. I have two other different molds of owlbears, but I'm not sure what colors to paint them. One's gonna be like white, like from the tundra or something. But I'm not sure about the other one. Let's see, we got... I showed this guy before in the mountain terrain, an earth elemental. Very simple paint job. Even more simple are these two water elementals. I have other ones that are pre-painted. These ones are just blue. Same thing with these two fire elementals. I have other ones, but I painted those. Let's do this one. So there's a spell that spellcasters can learn called Bigby's Hand, and you summon a giant hand. So I bought this online. It was like just a skin tone hand, and then I painted it blue and then used some like glitter glue to make it all sparkly, like it's magical. It's posable. I'm not going to pose it too much because it might crack like the paint and stuff, but you could definitely pose it because characters can like use it to fly around, or they could attack with it, make a fist. I have this little metal and magnetic piece, so it will stand up. And here are some official Bigby's Hand miniatures. So this is for when you're punching with it. So rock. This is when you're pushing things away. That's paper, right? Rock, paper. And then this is for grabbing things. This can count as scissors, right? The two fingers are sticking out. So rock, paper, scissors. But I like mine better because it's posable and it's bigger. The last ones that I've painted are the most detailed ones, and they're not perfect, but I like them. I think I've showed these before on a different video, but we have two beholders. If you don't play D&D, hopefully you'll still recognize these creatures with their eye stalks and their single eye. This one's just like a blue with like gray teeth and a green eye, and all his little eyes are green. And then I wanted to take this in another direction, so the teeth look disgusting. The gums are black. We got yellow and red, or sorry, yellow and orange for the eyes and the eye stalks, which are not the most detailed, to be fair. But the good thing about these is when I put it on a table, you're looking at it from like there. It looks amazing. We're not looking up close, luckily. As long as they look good on the table. I also have this, and this is why I don't paint like a human miniature like this guy. This is like an elf. I had one of my stories had an elven king. He used to be a king. He got exiled from his own people and went to some bad people and teamed up with them. So he was like a main villain in one of my stories, one of my campaigns. I mean, paint wise, it looks good. The armor looks great. The shield, I always wanted to like put something over the... It's some sort of bird. I don't know if you guys can really see it. Oh, there we go. But he's got purple cloak. He's got the silver. He's got the sword is very nice with a little red gem. But you'll notice he has no face. Right? I cannot do faces at all. Like, can't do that. Again, on the table, if these two are fighting, looks great. But he has no face. I also did one for one of my player characters. Very basic paint job, and again, no face at all. I just can't do the details. They're so tiny. But again, far away, they're fine. And those are all the actual miniatures I've painted. I have a ton of unpainted, like dwarves, elves, humans, all that stuff, and even some more monsters. Maybe I'll show off, I kind of want to show off the unpainted miniatures at some point. Maybe I'll get inspiration to actually paint some of the monsters at least. Also, I do have a third beholder. This is the same one that I painted. I bought 3 of them when they came out. I sent one to my friend because she's awesome and always paints my miniatures for me. And then I found this one more recently in the mall, and it was actually for retail because online these go for a lot. But I found one in the store for retail, so maybe I'll paint this one up. I always wanted to paint one in the color scheme of the Joker from Batman, where he's got the big smile, his eye stalks are green like his hair, and then his like face, body, whatever is white. I think that would look sick as hell. Should I paint a Joker beholder on stream? Maybe. Maybe. So that's just about everything that I have created from scratch or bought and painted. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you made it through the whole video, I appreciate you. Let me know what your favorite thing you saw was. It can be a beholder, it could be this stalagmite. Whatever you guys liked. But I appreciate you watching, and I'll try to be more active on this channel. I really enjoy D&D and all my toys that I buy or make. So I'll try to do more stuff on here. But I need some ideas. If you guys have any ideas for cool videos, whether it's painting more or creating stuff or storytelling, because D&D is a lot of different stuff, let me know, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks again. Peace out.